This is macOS Ken.
Apple teases new Macs, KeyBanc cuts its rating on Apple, and so much happening on the OS front. It is Friday, the 25th of October, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Incogni, helping you take back your personal data. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOSKen at incogni.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management. Have you ever heard of a desire path? Sure you have. We've talked about it here. In the physical world, a desire path is a footpath made through foliage, grass, etc. by repeated traffic rather than laid out by design. The desire of the people walking is to get where they're going quickly and easily. Thing is, you've probably got desire paths at work as well. Or your workers do. They probably got quicker, easier ways to get their work done, which are trampling all over the security systems you've set up. It's quicker and easier to use unmanaged devices, apps IT doesn't know about, logins that have been there since the before times maybe. 1Password Extended Access Management can help you get a handle on all of that. It puts all those unmanaged devices, unknown applications, and rogue identities under your control, making sure every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problems traditional identity and access management and mobile device management miss. It is security for the way people work today. It's available now to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Check it out at onepassword.com/macOSKen. That is the number one, onepassword.com/macOSKen. Apple SVP of Marketing Greg Joswick may be ghostwriting for Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. Or vice versa. On Tuesday, Gurman took to Twitter saying, "Busy week for Apple next week, Apple Intelligence on Monday, then M4 Mac launch, then earnings results on Thursday." That was followed by Jaws hitting Twitter yesterday, saying, "Mac your calendars. We have an exciting week of announcements ahead, starting on Monday morning. Stay tuned." Mac your calendars was an obvious play on words. In case you missed it, though, the SVP put a winky emoji in the first sentence. It was also accompanied by an animation that went from the Finder logo to a winking Finder logo to the Apple logo. So yeah, new operating systems next week, new Macs powered, one assumes, by versions of the M4 processor, and Apple's fourth quarter earnings call. Busy/exciting week indeed. Reigning on next week's parade yesterday was KeyBanc analyst Brandon Nispel. 9 to 5 Mac had the ho-hum analyst going bearish on Apple on Thursday, hitting shares with a price target reduction and a downgrade. Basically, he thinks other analysts and investors are expecting too much from Apple and too much from iPhone. Negatives listed by the analyst on iPhone include upgrade rates that continue to move lower in the US. Apple AI is only available initially in the US and in English. There continues to be an elongation of holding periods. There have been no new network announcements. There's a lengthening of equipment installment payment plans by carriers, shifting from 2 years to 3 years. And there's limited new functionality from Apple. While some think the anticipated lower-cost fourth-generation iPhone SE, expected in the spring, will add to iPhone sales, Nispel and Powell see the device cannibalizing sales, not growing them. The way he and his see it, Apple is an impressive business with what we believe are unrealistic expectations to re-accelerate growth across all product categories and geographies. For shares to move higher, he says Apple would need to significantly beat expectations, something the KeyBanc analyst does not expect. With that, he cut his price target on shares of the Cupertino company from $210 to $200. He also cut his rating on the shares from sector weight to underweight. Now back to parade prep. There's another revamped release candidate ahead of next week's round of updates. Mac Rumors ran a piece Thursday saying Apple had seeded macOS Sequoia 15.1 Release Candidate 2 to developers and public testers. In case you've not heard, the piece says the OS update introduces the first Apple Intelligence features. What? Adding support for writing tools, new Siri features, smart replies in mail and messages, priority messages in the Mail app, memory movie and cleanup in Photos, and more. The piece also reminds readers that the Apple Intelligence stuff will only work on Macs powered by Apple Silicon. As for what's different between the first release candidate and the second, who knows? Mac Rumors figures the new release candidate is meant to address an underlying bug. Apple seems to have eliminated one frustration ahead of next week's OS updates. iOS 18.1 is supposed to bring the hearing health test and hearing aid functionality to an associated pair of AirPods Pro 2. So the OS on the phone will need to be updated, as will the firmware for the AirPods. But users can't prompt the AirPods firmware update, so how long are they supposed to wait next week? No time at all, it seems. Mac Rumors ran a piece Thursday saying Apple had released new firmware for the stoppers in question, and yes, they are the ones that get the AirPods ready to be hearing aids. According to the report, release notes for the update reference the hearing test, hearing aid, and hearing protection features specifically, so have your AirPods Pro 2 in its charging case and connected to an iPhone, iPad, or Mac now and again over the next few days. Another of Apple's health initiatives has turned on for another country. 9to5Mac says the sleep apnea detection added to watchOS 11 is now live for Canada. It's interesting / odd that it took as long as it did. The piece says Health Canada actually gave the feature the green light back in September. Anyway, it's live now for Apple Watch Series 9, Apple Watch Ultra 2, and Apple Watch Series 10 units running watchOS 11 or later in the Great White North. You will also need to be running iOS 18 or later on the associated iPhone, according to the report. More news in a moment, but first a word from macOS Ken sponsor, Incogni, taking your personal data back for you. Earlier this week, I put Incogni to work doing what it does, asking data brokers to remove my data. It went to work immediately, sending requests to close to 200 data brokers and getting results. Let me read you part of an email I got yesterday. We recently received your request from Incogni seeking to exercise certain privacy rights on your behalf. This email is your notification that the actions you requested have been completed, your data deleted, and any future data will be suppressed from entering our systems. I got another that said in response to your request for opt-out removal request for the sale of your personal information, we have conducted a search of our records using the email addresses and or phone number provided and will remove, if found, any records pertaining to that email and or phone number in our systems. Nonetheless, we will add the contact information provided to our opt-out records to prevent any future sale of your personal information. Now that is the kind of unexpected email I can get behind. Whether you're trying to cut down on spam, scrub online activity, or guard against identity theft, Incogni is ready to work for you and with you. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOSKen at incogni.com/macOSKen. a tremendous savings, and it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. INCOGNI. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOSKen at incogni.com/macOSKen. Just because Apple isn't scanning iCloud hashes for CSAM doesn't mean the Cupertino company has given up the fight. A piece from Engadget has word of a new child protection feature apparently coming in iOS 18.2. The report has machine learning on an iPhone, iPad, or Mac working to detect nude content in iMessage and other communications apps. If it finds it, the piece says the feature automatically blurs the photo or video, displays a warning that the content may be sensitive, and offers ways to help. The choices include leaving the conversation or group thread, blocking the person, and accessing online safety resources. They also let the kid in question go ahead and view the content, though not automatically for all ages. If the child is under 13, Engadget says they can't continue without entering the device's screen time passcode. Now, this sounds a lot like one of the expanded protections for children features Apple announced in 2021, and off of which the company eventually backed. The difference this time, according to the report, it doesn't provide any backdoors for law enforcement. Engadget says the feature will roll out first in Australia. That's likely due to regulations planned for the country that require big tech to police child abuse and terror content, while killing a requirement to break end-to-end encryption and compromise security. Assuming that goes well, a piece from The Guardian indicates that Apple plans to offer the feature globally. Yes, I said offer. The feature can be turned on or off, though Engadget indicates that when it rolls out, it will be on by default. News of another big change coming for iOS 18.2. A piece from iDownload blog says the iOS update after next will let all iPhone owners set new default apps for functions currently handled by Apple Solutions. In the beta for iOS 18.2, the report says folks who go to Settings, then Apps, then Default Apps, see the message, manage your default apps for iPhone, including changing the apps you prefer to use for opening links on the web, sending emails, making contactless payments, and more. Defaults that can currently be switched up include email, messaging, calling, call filtering, browser app, passwords and codes, and keyboards. Yes, the messaging says users can change the default for contactless payments. No, that is not one of the choices currently available, funny enough. iDownload blog figures that'll be along in later betas of iOS 18.2. News of a new show heading to Apple TV+. The Cupertino streamer issued a press release Thursday promoting the conspiracy thriller series Prime Target. According to the description, Prime Target features a brilliant young math postgraduate on the verge of a major breakthrough. If he succeeds in finding a pattern in prime numbers, he will hold the key to every computer in the world. Soon he begins to realize an unseen enemy is trying to destroy his idea before it is even born, which throws him into the orbit of a female NSA agent who's been tasked with watching and reporting on the mathematician's behavior. Together, they start to unravel the troubling conspiracy that he is at the heart of. Leo Woodall, Quintessa Swindell, Martha Plimpton, Stephen Ray, and a host of others star. The first two episodes of Prime Target hit Apple TV Plus on Wednesday, the 22nd of January. They will run one per week on following Wednesdays through the 5th of March. Hey, remember a couple of weeks ago when I was all about Bad Monkey? Well, I still am. Great show. Highly recommend. That said, despite the relatively small amount of content available, there is so much stuff on Apple TV Plus that I have yet to watch. Have you seen Still Up? Came out in 2023. Seriously, funny show about two adorably dysfunctional people, old friends, both insomniacs, who spend their sleepless nights FaceTiming. Also, they're in love, though they're only just starting to realize that. 8 episodes, about half an hour each. I'm only through the first 5 episodes so far. I think it only got 1 season. I really hope it ends well, and not on a cliffhanger, thank you very much. Really, though, I'm just sad that there's apparently not going to be any more of it. I am totally charmed. Still Up, Apple TV Plus. If you're subscribed, I say give it a go. Less charming, more alarming, is this week's episode of The Checklist, brought to you by SecureMac. We are under 2 weeks from this year's election, after which, there may be danger. The intelligence community is tracking plans by foreign actors to incite violence in the U.S. between now and Inauguration Day. We'll look at what they're seeing and how we might avoid it. See? Not so much with the charm. Checklist number 397, stormy forecast and security updates. Find that today at SecureMac.com/checklist or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management. Learn more at 1password.com/macOSken. This show is also sponsored by Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan with code macOSken at incogni.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.